Oh, that became a little too close, man. We have the Deluxe DBX Basalt deck, specifically from the company Antihero. It also comes in real and crooked if that tickles your fancy a little bit more. Haven't tried all of them. I love them all. Not the DBX line though. That shit expensive. Outside of that price point, I would love them though. A disclaimer: you're gonna hear this same disclaimer. You're gonna hear the same disclaimer when I eventually get around to get the VX first, the DBX, and then all three of them eventually. I'm just milking it all. I'm milking it all. But disclaimer of comparison, it should be obvious. But if it's not, I mean, sometimes we forget. Now, before we get into it, just keep in mind that the DBX, to my knowledge, and from all I can see, is not at all aimed towards or marketed as a one-to-one rival of the flight deck. They ain't talking about doing all that. That's to say, its lack of performance in comparison isn't to be held against the brand or marketing, and isn't indicative of it like falling short of anything they didn't claim it to be doing, or that them on some marketing malarkey bullshit. So as long as you keep that in mind for the comparison and don't take it as any indictment on Deluxe or any of the products or anything like that I stand by, except this motherfucker right here. At least at this current price point, man. That being said, that doesn't mean we can't still compare and hold each one to task from a simply consumer standpoint. That the thing we do for every single product or thing we choose to buy over another. That's just what we do. And really, with the DBX, the price is the actual like only major drawback.
All Peralta decks are made in the USA at our skateboard manufacturing facility in Santa Barbara, California. US hard rock maple, high strength fiberglass, Airlam fused with epoxy resin, and are warranted against delamination for their useful life. Our graphics are created in-house using non-solvent, yada yada, nerd shit. Flight decks are thinner, as thin as your phone. Well, how you know a phone I got? What if I got a fucking house phone, nigga? Stronger more than twice as strong. In our tail brake test, longer lasting, the epoxy infused fiber reinforced structure of the flight deck is extremely resistant to breaking, and the structure gives them everlasting pop that doesn't fade as your deck slowly wears. Ollie higher because of the greater rebound and snap. Team testing suggests that flight decks last several times as long as your traditional 7 ply, making them a great value as well as superior performing. A skateboard, something I'm lost it. Okay, now these are you may see somebody get in the car, run them over, do this, then you ain't supposed to be doing all that. Okay, do that at your own peril. Okay, don't be just doing that shit because you can, and don't do it, nigga. Don't do it. DBX Deluxe Basalt Construction. Lighter, thinner, stronger, ultra responsive control, and lasting performance. That's a generalized summary. I would say it's definitely lighter, thinner, and stronger, hands down. Responsive, I don't know how to gauge that. I don't know. It just feels like I don't know, to each L, I don't know how the fuck you calculate that. That's some crazy shit right there, man. Deluxe Basalt Construction. This is a lot of words right here. But we're gonna construct it using 3 layers of interwoven basalt with 4 standard thickness interior veneers and 2 thinner face veneers, hand laid up and precision pressed in single molds to meet exact specifications. DBX decks were designed for an ultra responsive, light, and quick fill with lasting consistency throughout the lifetime of the board. They are lighter, thinner, and stronger than traditional 7-ply decks. Again, I'm feeling that like lighter, stronger, and all that. Definitely thinner. And yeah, easily stronger, but there's one little potential drawback I'm saying for big backs. Okay. There seems to be more flex in general, more so in the middle of the board than I've felt with any other board. So maybe that's by way of the design, the construction of it, or whatever the case. There's definitely more flex from what I can feel. It felt like it's still within the healthy range of like flex that a board's supposed to have or typically has. So it didn't feel like it was going to break. At no point in time did it feel like it was going to break. It still doesn't feel like it's going to break, but it still did have that flex to it when you step in the middle. A lot more so than I would say you typically feel on any type of board, especially within the camp of deluxe. The flight did not have any of that bow or flux or anything like that, just a normal amount, but it overall did like feel hard as hell, kind of. I thought it was going to be potentially a problem like going off of stuff, but I didn't feel anything. But it was like really firm and really stiff. Had to break that boy in, smack it around a bit. Now that being said, they both feel very much light, thin, and like crispy, like real snappy with the pop. The snappity snap, snap, snap. Now if you ain't got pop, you ain't got pop. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. It's not gonna help you with the pop. Just because it has good pop doesn't mean I don't got good English. Just because it has phenomenal pop, it's very responsive. It can't help you, nigga. It can't save you. You need some Jesus, huh?
Yeah, somebody kind of bows up or kicks up like this. Like there's a good amount of lip to it that rises up just so slightly that you can feel the curvature of the board though. I don't want to exaggerate. It's not like that shit's pointed up like that, but there is a point to it. Like I feel my foot like it's nestled right there. I kind of like the feeling. I'm big back, so I want to say cupped pepperoni, like a cupped pepperoni. That's super exaggerated though. Now you can see from this broke ass device, broke is a contraction. Put it flat and then push it up. Push it, you see it starting to kick up. It gets back flat.
I don't know if the angle's doing it that much justice, but there's a lot more kick and steepness to the nose and the tail. It's still somewhat mellow, but no, there's a lot of kick. So it's pretty round with a little bit of squareness to the very tip, if you will. It's more so round, if anything. Same with the tail, and the tail is a lot more pointed. It's not super tapered or anything like that. So it holds to that 8 1/4 size, not drastically getting smaller towards the tip. Doesn't get too narrow and going down a whole different size. But you can see, especially here, that is pretty pointed. It does get pretty, like most tails tend to do, smaller than the nose, towards the tip and a little bit more pointed. But again, it's still more in the rounded camp than anything else. So there's definitely, in comparison to other boards in general, or other boards within the deluxe camp, KROOKED, Real, I've never had another Antihero, but I'd imagine so. There's a level of firmness, stiffness, like sturdiness to it, like a good thing. There's a sense of strength and pride to the motherfucker. Not $114 worth though, from anything I can ascertain. Hell to the damn no, hell to the goddamn no.
Alright, so the nose and the tip, I don't know if you heard that. That nigga is, I thought Diddy was here and just snuck a move on somebody. That was a grown ass man that made that noise, by the way. This is just, it looks standard. It looks sexy actually. It looks pretty lovely. I just hope we don't have problems with the pop. But that's the tail. This is the nose. Yeah, he's just feeling himself. Okay, that's all it is. Feeling himself a little too much. Nose and tail. Oh, you done goofed. You done goofed. You who? So the width is 8 1/4 by 31.2999999. The length of the nose. The length of the tail.
About K26 Concave, Powell Peralta's K26 is a symmetrical double kick mold with a familiar medium to mellow concave. Symmetrical, the nose and tail are the same, symmetrical. The redesigned nose and tail are set closer together than on the K20 and feature a larger radius, allowing for smoother, more precise flicks and tons of pop. But I don't know about all that. I know it got a lot of pop though. The K26 also accommodates a variety of deck sizes up to 9.75 inches. What? God dang! With wheelbases up to 14 and a half inches. What? That's a lot of. The K26 is the first concave designed to optimize the flex and pop of flight deck construction, but it feels like your 7-ply. I feel like a 7-ply. The
pop. Now with the pop, you don't have to worry about either one of these bad boys getting up and going. Getting used to it, shape and personal preference aside, the actual snap and responsiveness of the nose and tail are incredible. They're both light, snappy, as well as responsive. Maybe with the flight feeling like a little bit more, like to a subtle degree, like lighter and more crisp to me. But I'll probably chalk that up to it being more firm, kind of stiffer to begin with. Like that bitch hard. That shit hard. Nothing big enough to really care about, but what does matter is how long it all lasted. And the flight deck did all that easily with 2 months. I mean, God, that's insane compared to the DBX that got me 1 month. Also insane compared to an average board, but the price is even more insane. So I don't give a damn. I don't care about all that. But with the flight deck being 2 months before it lost its pop, getting less responsive and spongy when you smack the nose or tail on the floor, or where you hear no audible noise when you go to do that ain't good, man. You go to pop and you don't hear nothing. You don't hear nothing. You just hear mush. Almost like it's waterlogged. It sounds like that board moist. That boy moist. So get some milk and cool. With that being said, let's do a wide sweep on all the aspects of the structural integrity, if you will, and just crown the flight deck. Just crown the flight deck. It was clear and shit. Just 2 months versus 1 month is just lasting that long is extremely rare. That just doesn't happen to me. Now, as far as maintaining the pop, shape, firmness, or sturdiness of all that, including the nose, tail, and middle of the board, based on the length of time skated, it's a sweep for the flight deck. Like 2 months is insane. It actually maintained its pop, which allowed for me to skate it longer. So maybe the DBX with continued skating would also still hold up, like in terms of the nose, tail, and middle of the board stomping, all that type of impact. But for me, that's mute, because I'm not trying to ride the struggle bus for basic trick set, like even longer than I already had to, because it's not popping when I try to pop. I can't have that because I'm sitting there struggling trying to, because it done lost its pop after a month is insane. That's insane too. But the price is even more insane. So for that reason, fuck that shit. I'm not in that insanity. Yeah, so again, maintaining all that for a month with the DBX, not bad if you go with that. You're probably gonna have a good time. As long as you're aware of like your skating patterns. Like your motherfucker might be out there. You skate nothing but street. You a real one. I'm a park geezer. I'm a geezer. But I get out there. I be out there. I was in that scuffle too. Right, but you might be skating a lot more in the streets more than you realize and shit, like, and not even be keeping track and just go, oh man, this shit didn't let me down. Unless it really just don't last you that long, you're keeping tabs of it. Well, anyways, but yeah, with after a month of it not being as responsive and popping like it once was, it's just all bad. I'm not trying to keep skating something like that. But I mean, seriously, hitting 2 months is actually insane. At this point, it's only $20 more. Years ago, it used to be more of a gap, and it's like harder to justify, like a $30 to $40 gap, because these flight decks like being like $100 as far as I remember. And it's still pretty much right there. And you can find them on sale at times. But it's even easier to, okay, $20 more, I'm going to get this, that, and the other. That's an easy sell. But before 30 to 40, it's like, man, I don't know if I want to do all that, man. And again, that doesn't mean the actual performance of the DBX is bad in any way. Maybe aside from the chipping, like a normal board, which doesn't chip easy at all, just so we're clear. It's not chipping easy at all, which would be fair. But you have to consider the price, and then that price is not fair, man. That shit on some bullshit. And again, while chips happen, and you see I chipped the flight deck the first day, and then a few times throughout my time skating it, 2 damn months after it was all said and done, 2 months later, the heavy street skating too is just a non-issue. You know, so I got my bangs worth of my bucks worth, bangs and bucks and bangs. I don't know what the fuck it is, whatever the shit saying is. I definitely got my bangs worth my buck. And my VX did the same, also chipping the first day and a bit gradually here and there with heavy street skating. But 2 months, the results were in. Like that's shit's crazy, man. But again, just keep in mind you can chip either one of these, because man, even if I'll say that the flight and the VX definitely don't chip as easy overall. In terms of generally, I imagine you can cook either one of these if you're really unlucky. Again, the issue with the DBX is really just the price actually coming in as more than either of the two outside of like any sales or promotions. That's really the only drawback for me regarding the DBX, because it absolutely, like, it just pulls its weight versus your average board, getting me to basically double the time of my average, depending on how much street and all that, okay, all the factors, okay? But I definitely did that heavy amount of skating to fairly assess that this shit was cooking. Like any other board, by the time I hit this amount of street skating that I did would have been like 1 to 2 weeks. That would have been my average, 1 to 2 weeks. But this one it just kept going. Whatever the tech is, I undoubtedly felt like the massive benefits and stand by any type of innovative like pursuit down this road.
Well, holy fuck nuggets. So we have an update on the price. The flight, it's not even about the flight deck, but that one's still the cheapest, like straight up. I see them for $99 still. But so the flight is still among the cheapest, and that's not even on sale. So the DBX isn't as crazy now with that price, coming in with that price. Maybe since it came in well after the fact, they probably had to adjust for that already. Maybe they've already taken in whatever into account. But yeah, the flight deck used to be $99. Same with the VX, but the VX is actually I still see a number of them for $99, and then now I see like 104, 109, stuff like that. But I see 114 for the flight decks now, and 114 for the DBX boards. But yeah, so right now, the flight is definitely on sale a lot more, so you can still find a number of them cheaper, more so than the DBX. But there's a couple of DBX that have been within the $100 price tag on sale. Yeah, so maybe the time frame, the DBX just dropped at what was going to be the standard for anything of these two. They're not even the same material. I don't know. They're not even the same material. I don't know. But whatever the case, or maybe they seen that they can get away with it, so they gonna do it too, or responded to the DBX. Maybe it's doing good, or has been, and they just bumped it up. Like, fuck it, these niggas did it, we gonna do it. You know, some Samsung following iPhone phones fuckery and shit like that. But I don't know what's going on. And for a second, I was looking at the Pro models. I thought maybe the Pro models, it makes sense because you want to kick some out. You charge more, justify it, and give a more of a cut to the pros, or a meaningful cut to the pros, like you got to do. But no, it looks like across the board, be it a Pro flight deck or just a regular flight deck, it's up there in price. It's up there. I hope the VX don't join these niggas, man. Yeah, I probably only entertain a flight deck, even though it lasted like that long. I'm a cheap motherfucker. I don't play that shit. I'll probably find it on sale. I'll just fuck the flight deck maybe. But that one might be set to go up too. But again, right now I've seen that as little as $99. I think some for $93, and that's not even on sale. That's like, so you imagine finding some on sale. But I'm definitely gonna grab probably an 8.5. I'm too bitch made for that, but I'm definitely gonna grab an 8.5, probably a KROOKED 8.5 on any. I don't. They're just making everything 8.5. Regardless of that, none of that changes the outcome in my experience with the flight and the DB. Not the DB, the flight and the VX. Getting me way further in so many regards.
To speak with the DBX, to give its proper flowers. It's incredibly this shit, for the price that shit cost, it should have came with flowers, goddamn. It's incredibly resilient despite the flex, like when standing on it. It's a little more give and bounce than I felt like standing in the middle. But any concerns I had about that impacting its like durability were like put to rest.
I have a 6-minute compilation of just stomping the nose, tail, in the middle, and everything.
But yeah, just straight 6 minutes. I'll probably upload that eventually. It's just ain't nobody trying to watch all that. And it's pretty edited up too. It's not like long old clip, like I'm editing it down to like just impact 6 minutes, and that's just what I captured. So again, great stuff. So this is obviously the DBX. It's only been 1 month. Good amount of street skating. And this one, it's been 2 months, even more street skating. And this is a tail of both. No, that's the nose. That's the nose. Excuse me. It's the tail of the DBX and the tail of the flight deck. Yeah, so after 2 months, there's no comparison. Let me get to the noses. I'm gonna get that nigga that so he stop barking. Nose ain't too bad. But yeah, again, the issue is 2 months in versus him, the 1 month mile marker. So again, there was a lot of work put in, a lot of damage to both of these. But the flight is just worlds better.
I mean, if not just for the price alone. But yeah, you see a fair amount of damage in terms of the chipping, dings and dents and everything like that. Oh yeah. It's the nose too. Yep. Makes sense. My nose diving ass. The DBX had a way better amount of kick to the nose and tail. All personal preference. But that's not to say that the flight deck was flat or anything like that. That shit was popping. And plenty cool. In terms of the feel, aside from obviously the nose, tail, shape, concave, like all that, was with this one initially, there was like an outline, I swear, maybe the concave, I guess, where you would step and you'd feel your foot like elevated. You'd feel it when you step on the board, so I almost felt locked in. I didn't know how it was gonna hit. This, when you stand, your foot is completely flat, but with the flight, like it bows up. Like it was, I swear, it's an outline just the whole way through. And your foot wouldn't sit completely flat, it would sit up and you'd feel it like under your foot. So I felt more connected. With the board. I didn't know if it was gonna mess me up or anything. So luckily it didn't. But you definitely feel that under your foot. But it's still there. Oh no, maybe you do. I think you kind of just get used to it. I still feel it kicking up quite a good amount. Okay, so you get used to it. It probably does flatten out to some extent. Yeah, it just kicks up way harder with the flight. It just lift it up a little more. Just peel them lips back. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Peel the lips back. Yeah, so either that will bother you or it won't. But you can definitely get used to it. And I probably did prefer the way this one hits. The flight. In terms of personal preference, just to make it a little bit better, I'd probably want the flight to have more kick to that nose and tail. But how many shapes they have, there's probably an option for that. But where's it? Look, I promise this noise happened. I had to edit it up and so you can capture it so you can hear. And then it's turned up all, of course, but that should happen. All right. It's the beginning of this clip. Let me find that clip. It's not playing when I drag it in, like it's starting a hair too late, a split second too late. Where the fuck is it at? That ain't it. 279. All right. You hear that shit? You hear that fucking? All right. So see, that's how it sounds. And then I had to, and you get what you get, man. I recorded it from here on the, like I'm doing now, but yeah, some reason when I just play the clip, like it's playing here. Watch it. I pre-edit. All right, so see, it did it there. Let me drag it to the timeline. All right, so see, it just catches the last. And nigga, you weird for even just editing it out basically on its own, and you have to have it in there.